Good day, you're watching Businessworld Live. I'm Delos Santos and here are today's top stories. Bangko Sentral Governor Felipe Medalla rules out another big-time hike in interest rates. Shake-up in the Finance Department, President Bongbong Marcos dismisses as fake news the speculations that he is replacing Secretary Ben Jokno. Heads up consumers, majority of noche, buena items are set to see an increase in prices. And Maynilad earmarks more than 20 billion pesos for the development of new water treatment plants in the next 5 years. Let's begin our broadcast with Bangko Sentral Governor Felipe Medalla ruling out another jumbo rate hike as the U.S. Federal Reserve is expected to slow the pace of tightening in December. Governor Medalla said the BSP's December 15 decision will depend on the move by the Fed, which will have its own meeting on December 14 to 15. Medalla said he thinks the U.S. Fed will keep raising rates but no more than 75 basis points. He explained that if the Fed will hike by 50 basis points, the Bangko Sentral cannot afford to keep rates unchanged. Last week, the Bangko Sentral increased its benchmark rate by 75 basis points following an increase of the same in the Philippines in 2023, slower than the 7 to 9% growth this year. Anand said this projection comes on the back of expectations of a 300 basis point rise in policy rates this year, the full effect of which will be felt in 2023. S&P Global also noted that high inflation and interest rates will be downside risks to the country's economy because they could dampen credit demand and affect highly indebted and lower-rated borrowers. Now, prices of food products considered as Filipino Christmas staples will see increases ahead of the holiday season. Based on the price guide to be released by the Trade Department, prices of ham will go up by as much as 30 pesos depending on size and brand. Pasta, on the other hand, will see an increase of 18 pesos, while prices of spaghetti sauce and tomato sauce will climb by as much as 10 pesos. The smallest queso de bola will see at least 20 pesos added to its tag. Fruit cocktails, meanwhile, will see a price hike of 33 pesos. The Trade Department attributes the increase in prices to pricier raw materials and overhead charges. The agency says it continues to coordinate with manufacturers to ensure reasonable price hikes in their goods. This as some products have already increased prices ahead of the release of the new price guide. Holiday spending still on amid hot inflation. Let's find out as we check in with Stephen Tan, President of SM Supermalls. Stephen, good day. Thank you for joining us. We're just 32 days away from Christmas. Are you already feeling the Christmas rush in SM malls? And how is this year different in terms of foot traffic and activity compared to the past two pandemic years?
Yeah, Christmas is, you can really feel it. The decors are up, the jingles are playing. So you definitely can feel the holiday rush when you go to an SM mall.
Mm-hmm. But in terms of foot traffic though, how are things going at least for SM malls? Are you confident that has there been at least a marked or significant increase compared to the previous quarters?
Yes, definitely. Especially starting November, we felt this increase at least around 30% over the previous month of October. The foot traffic is growing week by week, and we see that it will peak by this coming first 2 weeks of December.
First 2 weeks of December, especially with the adjusted mall hours. But at the same time, are you confident that things are already at pre-pandemic levels in terms of mall activities?
If you look into the year to date, meaning that includes from January to October at least, we have not yet surpassed our numbers for 2019. But if you isolate, like for example, July, August, September, October, and even November, a lot of our malls are already past the pre-pandemic level, which is past 2019, compared year on year.
Mm-hmm. But when do you think will that happen? That regardless of time frame, that you are at least back at 2019 levels?
definitely by 2023, where the whole year will definitely, we were projecting actually a double-digit growth for the year 2023 compared to the numbers in 2019. This, if you, as I said earlier, November, just November itself, no, we're already past 2019 level.
All right. Now, again, the economy is in full swing now. Restrictions are close to zero, but then there's sizzling inflation. Has that in any way made any dent in terms of consumer activity in your malls? Or is revenge spending pretty much still evident?
It's still very, very evident. As we've seen in the numbers, it's been growing. At the moment, we don't feel the inflation affecting the sales yet. Well, I maybe because people are very excited to still go out and go back to pre-pandemic, that what they've been doing pre-pandemic. Huh? So I think it has not yet affected the malls, but also because remittances are high. Because, Philippines were very dependent on OFW, and this is a consumer-driven economy. So for the malls, it has not yet really affected our sales.
But how about the retailers, especially the inflation-sensitive retailers? You have the likes of clothing and food. How are they performing so far? And are we seeing closures as well, or vacancies?
Occupancy, as a matter of fact, has been growing month on month. No, we have been monitoring. At least it's been increasing like 1 or 2% points every month. No, so we're quite optimistic about it. As a matter of fact, we've opened 3 malls with huge success in the past month alone. We opened Tansa Cavite, we opened Sorsogon, and just over the weekend, we opened to Gigarao. If you would see some social media posts, there's so many people in the malls. The tenants are very happy with the turnout. So it looks like it's going to be a very happy holidays.
All right, it seems as though. But at the same time, since you're opening new malls, I'm just curious to find out, does inflation in any way factor in as to how you create or zone out the whole experience?
Okay. The good thing about SM Supermalls is that we're located in a lot. We're all over the country. We're not just in CBD, but mostly we are in communities. Now, a lot of our provincial malls are in communities. So you don't really have to travel that far. So fuel prices has not really, even if there's a hike in fares, jeepney fares or tax fares, it has not affected because we're always within a striking walking distance or one ride away from the city center. So I think that's a plus point for us. For the retailers, there has been shift definitely in what people buy. They really, well, I don't think it's because of the inflation. The shift happens because of the pandemic. The choices has been different. What people were looking for pre-pandemic has changed already. They are expecting more experiences, a lot of sporting goods, and just fashion alone. The sales of party clothes have slowed down, but the sales in activewear have replaced what used to be a party clothes. So, but nowadays you go out, even on Sunday, if you go to the malls, you see it's very normal to see people wearing sportswear.
Okay, that's one very interesting change that you mentioned there. But at the same time, part of the whole mall experience is cinema viewing. So how is that performing so far, SM Cinemas?
Okay, we opened our cinemas only at the second quarter of the year, and we've only fully actually opened our cinemas just recently. So if you compare the numbers, it's not yet there, but we are very lucky that we have huge blockbusters. Like just last week, Wakanda, which is a big Disney movie, has been gaining a lot of traction. This December, we're very excited about Avatar, which will be showing starting December 14, which I believe would be a huge hit. And then you have the MMFF going back to pre-pandemic. The movie lineups are very interesting. You have Coco Martin, you have Bayskanda, etc. So I feel that December will be a very, very huge month for the cinema.
Would you say, though, that streaming platforms, the entry of streaming platforms, especially have new ones like Disney Plus, is that proving to be more and more a threat here for SM Cinemas?
What you watch on Netflix or Disney Plus is totally, it's kind of like different from the experience that you will get when watching a big screen. Like, I don't think that blockbusters like Avatar and Wakanda Forever, Black Panther, or even the Marvel movies could really, you don't get that same experience as watching on TV, or on your screen at home. So I think there will not be a replacement, but rather it will find its own niche and its own market.
All right. And then, of course, part of SM Malls, you have IKEA Philippines first year anniversary. Congrats on that. How has the store performed so far? Were you able to meet your targets?
They have surpassed expectations when it comes to their numbers. So they're very, very happy with the Philippines. And as a matter of fact, they have been discussing with us about their expansion plans already. They're very happy. That's what I can say at the moment.
Okay, expansion plans. Are we looking at the possibility of new stores?
Yes, definitely. Now that's in the talks right now. Yeah, definitely in a year or two you'll see more IKEAs. Yeah.
Okay, something to be something that you have to keep us tabs on, something you have to update us in the future at least. And then lastly, for SM Malls, what's the outlook here for 2023? What are your targets? What's in the pipeline?
2023, we expect the number to grow double digit compared to 2019. Now, we're not even comparing it anymore to 2020, 2022, or 2021. Compared to 2019, we expect a double digit growth. We will be also opening four malls in the pipeline. No, we will have San Pedro Laguna, Santo Tomas Batangas, Deparo Caloocan, and a very, very exciting project in Bataan, Balanga, Bataan.
Okay, so lots of things happening there for SM Malls. Again, thank you very much for your time this morning. Stephen Tan, President of SM Malls.
Thank you, Jess.
Now let's pause for a quick break, but coming right up after that. The local board approves the IPO of Premiere REIT. More of that and other stories when Business World Live returns. Stay with us here on One News. You're still watching Business World Live here on One News. I'm Jess De Los Santos. United States Vice President Kamala Harris has become the highest U.S. official to visit Palawan, the island nearest to the disputed South China Sea. Harris urged nations to respect the 2016 arbitral ruling that invalidated Beijing's expansive claims over the contested waters. Brian Castillo with the full story.
U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris arrived in Palawan on Tuesday afternoon. After receiving arrival honors, she met with residents of the fishing village of Tagburos. Harris then climbed aboard BRP Teresa Magbanwa, the Philippine Coast Guard's biggest vessel. She was taken on a tour inside the ship to witness the PCG's sea monitoring system. In her speech, Harris said the U.S. will defend the Philippines against attacks in the South China Sea.
We must stand up for principles such as respect for sovereignty and territorial integrity, unimpeded lawful commerce, the peaceful resolution of disputes, and the freedom of navigation and overflight in the South China Sea and throughout the Indo-Pacific.
The U.S. Vice President also called on China and other nations to respect the 2016 arbitral ruling.
We support the 2016 ruling of the UN Arbitral Tribunal, which delivered a unanimous and final decision firmly rejecting China's expansive South China Sea maritime claims. The tribunal's decision is legally binding and must be respected.
She also raised concerns on illegal fishing in the area, which affects the livelihood of Filipino residents there.
So this is how I see it. To protect the economic vitality of these communities, to protect the ecosystems they rely on, and to protect lives and livelihoods, we must uphold international rules and norms.
Meanwhile, Harris announced $7.5 million in donation to the Philippines. The aid will be given to maritime law enforcement agencies for improved services. Harris is so far the highest U.S. official to step foot in Palawan, the island nearest to the disputed South China Sea. For News 5, Brian Castillo. We are One News.
President Bongbong Marcos has dismissed as fake news the rumors that he is replacing Finance Chief Ben Jokno. This comes amid speculations that Albay Representative Joey Salceda will take Jokno's place at the helm of the Finance Department. The president says there would be no sense in shaking up what he called a great team. Secretary Jokno also says he and President Marcos have a good working relationship.
Fake news.
Sir, does it...
I don't know where it comes from. Why would I do that? We've assembled a great team. We're trying to go down a certain direction. It's a very, very poor time to, as they say, change horses in midstream.
I don't know where this is coming from, right? I'm old enough in this game to even bother about this. Okay, I just work non-stop, unceasingly to do my job.
Salceda maintained he has no interest in taking over Jokno's post, saying he has done plenty in terms of moving fiscal policy from his place inside Congress. The lawmaker also called Jokno a good friend and vowed to work with him for as long as he is finance chief, while denying any hand in spreading the rumor. As the severity of the COVID-19 situation in the country eases, the health department says it will be changing the rules to the alert level system. JC Cosico with the details.
The Health Department is set to present changes to the current alert level system in the next interagency task force meeting on December 5. Health Department Officer in Charge Maria Rosario Vergera said restrictions will be decoupled from the ALS and such will only be used to determine an area's risk level, similar to Pag-asa's cyclone warning system.
Pag sinabi ng Pag-asa na signal number 1 tayo lahat, alam ng ating komunidad, ng ating public how they are going to respond. At ganun din ang gusto natin sa alert level system. Dapat alam na ng bawat individual at bawat Pilipino how you are going to respond based on your informed decision kapag ka ganito ang level ng alert sa isang lugar.
Should these changes get the IATF's nod, it will then be presented to President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. for his approval. Currently, the DOH says the Philippines experiences a non-significant rise in COVID infections. Data show all island groups in the country are in an upward trend since early November. But ICU, severe and critical admissions are showing signs of plateauing in the recent days.
So pag nakita natin nakakaunti na yung severe at critical, I think we're good, no? Kaya nga sabi natin, baka nga dumarating na tayo sa point na nakikita na natin yung light at the end of the tunnel.
In the meantime, the DOH will push for an extension of the COVID-19 state of calamity if the public health emergency bill won't be passed into law before year-end. The COVID-19 state of calamity in the country will lapse by December. For News 5, JC Cosico, We Are One News.
The PSC has approved the initial public offering application of Premier Island Power REIT Corporation or Premier REIT. Premier serves as the power and infrastructure REIT platform of Danie Villars-led Prime Asset Ventures. According to the preliminary offers, selling shareholders expect to raise around 3.2 billion pesos. Premier REIT will offer up to 1.4 billion shares with up to 210 million as an over-allotment option. Each share is priced at 2 pesos apiece, with the final offer price to be determined on Wednesday after the company concludes its book building. Maynilad is targeting to spend 22 billion pesos in the next 5 years for the development of 7 new water treatment plants. In a statement on Tuesday, Maynilad said this planned development will bring an additional 545 million liters of water supply per day. Maynilad Chief Operating Officer Randolph Estrellado says this move seeks to better close the gap between available water supply and the growing demand. From 2023 to 2027, Maynilad is targeting to spend almost 220 billion pesos for its service enhancement program, which includes laying of new pipelines and constructing additional pumping stations. And those are the biggest stories on the economic and corporate front today. I'm Jess De Los Santos. We are One News, all sides, all the time. Don't go away. We'll give you the latest on the local bourse when Businessworld Live returns. Stay with us. And you're still watching Businessworld Live on One News. I'm Jess De Los Santos. Let's have a quick check here on the market after those narrow gains from Tuesday. Let's see if you are making heftier wins today. It seems to be the case here. As you can see, the index is nearing that 6,500 level. We're now at 6,484.54. That marks at least close to 0.9% gain so far at the early Wednesday trade here. In fact, what's interesting here, if you try to take a look at the 1 month level here, at least the 1 month performance of the index, you'd see the main bourse gaining close to 7.6%, one of our highest level at least so far since September. If we try to take a look at this chart right here, of course, this increase This rise in the index comes as the central bank says it's likely to keep track of a projected slowdown in the Fed's hawkishness. You have BSP Governor Felipe Medalla saying that the Fed is likely to hike by a half point next meeting, followed by a quarter point. He sees the need for the BSP to actually even do less than that. Again, recall that so far the BSP has hiked rates by 300 basis points since May to contain inflation and support the peso. Given that, let's have a quick check of two very rate-sensitive sectors and how they are performing so far today. I'm talking about the property space and the financials. Let's check in first on our property developers here. As you can see, a sight for sore eyes here. A majority of our index members here, at least starting the day in the green here. The index so far is up by 1.7%. Philinvest, likewise, as you can see, starting the day here in the positive territory, up by 3.4%. The same happening for Ayala Land, Mega World, and even SM Prime. Also, let's check in on the financial space here with some of our lenders experiencing at least 3-day gains already. Let's see if that is continuing today. As you can see, a bit of muted movement here for the financial space, albeit on the downside here. You have Metro Bank, however, starting the day in the green, as well as East West Bank and Security Bank. China Bank, however, starting the day down by close to 1.1%. And lastly, of course, we have to check in on the peso and how it's performing so far. Strengthening a touch here at 57.210 to the greenback. The peso is still the weakest performer in the region, but so far, at least for this quarter alone, it has strengthened by 2% after all the tightening and forex intervention. But one stock that we have to keep watch for today would have to be PLDT. That's after its CEO Al Panlilio tells reporters during a Strat-based forum that the telco giant is initial talks for the sale of an additional 2,000 towers. A letter of intent is to be signed by year end. So who exactly are they talking to? So these are firms who weren't selected in the initial selling of PLDT's 6,000 towers, but 4,000 towers likely to be kept by the telco giant as they are strategically located. They are also saying that the 2022 capex of 85 billion peso is expected to be breached due to the peso's depreciation and the acceleration of their projects. Looking at PLDT joining the rest of the bourse with those gains right here, up by close to 0.4% at 1,596. And that's it for today, November 23, 2022. Join us again tomorrow at exactly 9:30 a.m. You can also catch us on Signal Play. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Jess De Los Santos. Stay safe, Philippines. We are One News, all sides, all the time.